What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another FB Designs tutorial. I am Rob, your host, and today we're going to be learning how to do this. Get 3D text inside of a tracked piece of footage. Should be fun, so let's get started. Let's jump on over to After Effects. I already drug my footage in, so we're going to take it. We're going to drag it down to the new composition, so that way the timeline is perfect. And now we're going to go over here to the right, go to Tracker. If you do not see Tracker, you can go to Window and make sure Tracker is checked off. Or you can right click on your footage, go to Track and Stabilize, and go to Track Camera. Click it, go down to Advanced, click Detailed Analysis, make sure you're on full resolution, and let it do its thing. Now, there's a couple things to be warned about. I have talked about this in my previous tutorial about tracking footage. You want to try to keep your footage down to a few seconds if you can, unless you want to be tracking all night, because the longer the footage gets, the longer it takes to track it. So with that in mind, you might want to try to keep your footage down to, just a few seconds like this is. So we're going to go ahead and let this track. I will fast forward through this part of it, and I'll see you when it's finished. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are going to let this camera do its thing. It usually doesn't take very long, so while I'm at it, I'll go over a couple different things. I created a tutorial last week about creating Element 3D text. So for those of you that are watching this and are coming back over to this tutorial to finish it out, there's a couple things that you're going to have to do. You're going to want to get rid of your background if you created one during that tutorial, and you're going to want to get rid of the camera and then drag in your footage down to your composition. So with that being said, we have our track points. Let's go ahead and turn our sound off on our footage. Go ahead and let this preview. And the reason why I do this is because when you scrub through the timeline to try to find your marker or something to track to, it won't look like everything is bouncing around. So Okay, there we go. So now as you see, if we scrub through, it doesn't look like it was bouncing around like it was initially. So let's go find us a nice spot to find. That looks pretty good right there. What we're going to want to do is right click, go to create null and camera, and there we go. It created a null and camera for us. And that's what I was talking about with the track points moving around like that. Also, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make a duplicate copy of your footage. Go ahead. It may take a couple of seconds to duplicate it because of copying the 3D camera tracker. Highlight it, delete the camera track. Right click, rename this to environment 1 or environment. Right click on it. Go to where's it at? There we go. Go to time. Oh no. I'm sorry, go to the time further up and go to freeze frame. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to take this and make it our environment map for our text. So with that being done, let's go ahead, right click, go to text. We're going to type out what we want it to say. For me, I'm going to type out FB Designs. Double click the text to highlight it all. We're going to shrink it down a little bit so it's a little bit more manageable. Here we can go to a line. Take off the caps. If you don't see a line, again, you can go to Window and look for a line and make sure it's checked. Okay, with that being done, we can go to right click, go to new, go to solid. We will name this E3D for element 3D. Make sure it's the same comp size, which it should be. Go over here to effects and presets. Again, if you don't see that, you can go to your window and look for effects and presets and make sure it's checked. Come on over here. Let's type out element. Drag it over. Wait for it to pop up. Now, there's just a couple of things we need to do in here. We need to go to render settings, go to physical environment. For override layer, we are going to use our environment. And then for custom layers, and we want to go to custom texture maps. Again, we're going to pick our environment. And then for custom text and mask, we are going to do the same. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to choose our text. With that done, we'll close up everything. We'll go to scene setup. Click extrude. And as you can see, you have your 3D text. Now, I like moving it up away from the grid. Or you can just go down here and turn the grid off. Let's go to uncheck draft texture so we can see what it's really going to look like once we get it in. Now you can go down over here and change your bevel all you want if you choose to do it this way. Change your tessellation to ultra. It smooths things out real nice, as you can see. The higher you go, the better. But it's also going to take longer to render. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go over here to presets, go to bevels. Excuse me. And we're just going to pick out a nice bevel here. Yeah, we'll check out stripes. And there we go. If you think the reflectivity is a little too high, then you could always go to, let's see, I think that would be this one here. Or is that the sides? Yeah, you just have to figure out which one is your face. And I'm pretty sure that's the one. And then go down to reflectivity and shut it down. And it'll give you a more solid color. Or you can turn it up just barely for less reflectivity. So I think that's going to work. Let's see how that looks. Let's turn that down just a touch. So as you can see between these letters, I mean, we could take care of that inside of once we get back into our main composition. So that looks pretty good right there. It's nice and beefy. When you decide to do your bevel scale and you pick just the whole thing, it does all of them. So it makes it pretty simple for you. I like that, so let's go to OK. And there's our text. Now we can shut off this other text. Now for the positioning, we're going to go to Track Null, hit P on your keyboard, so you pull up your position. Highlight your E3D text. And we're going to take these and we're going to copy them to here. So it's a single click, right click. Nope. Edit that. Undo the change. Single click, right click, copy. Right click, paste. We're going to do it for all three of these numbers. Copy, paste, and then for the Z, copy and paste. Okay. There we go. I forgot to shut off the environment. So there we go. It's stuck to the position that we picked. Okay, now we want to go into particle look. And let's turn up the particle size. You may want to go in and just, here, let's go back, undo that change. You may want to drop it just a little bit so it looks like it's closer to the ground. Perspective is going to be everything for this, so you may have to take the time to adjust that. Let's make these letters a little bit bigger because they are in a parking lot. That should work out pretty well. Let's hit preview and see what we got. And there you go. 3D text within tracked footage. Now there's a bunch more that you can do with this. You can bring extra lighting in. So once you have everything tracked, you can go in and take your text here and make it black and line it up. You'll have to take the coordinates that you used for element 3D and use them in your positioning to get it to match up with your 3D text. But then you could add a blur or something like that to soften it and make shadows like you see going across here. So There's all sorts of things you can do with this, and I'll make a tutorial about this, about doing shadows here pretty soon. So with that being done, I hope everybody learned something, and take care, everybody.